From the backstretch at Saratoga, this is Loose on the Lead with Steve Bick and Seth Merrow. Loose on the Lead is sponsored by...
Good morning and welcome to Loose on the Lead on this Sunday morning, the day after the Travers, fabulous Travers Day, great weather, big crowd, best crowd since 2019, so a little breakout from the pandemic. Record handle yesterday for a Travers Day, 55 million, the previous record 52 million, all sources over 49,000 as the announced attendance, so it was a really special day with some really great racing. And the day after means Loose on the Lead here on a Sunday morning. Seth Merrow and Steve Bick. Steve, good morning.
Seth, good morning.
Looking sharp. I like the jacket.
Thanks so much. It means a lot coming from you.
I was waiting for like a
rejoinder.
No, like you
look fabulous, and for the first time this season, the Blues don't go, but it's all right.
I thought it was a whole blue look.
Well, it's blue, all right, but it's just you're so close. You come. It's encouraging that we make small incremental gains every season, and you know, by the time the network dissolves, you'll be sartorially splendiferous.
That's what we like to hear. Great day yesterday. Just some overall thoughts, and then we'll hit the play of the day. But overall thoughts on the day, yes, I thought it was a lot of fun.
You know, it's hard to go wrong when you've got the kind of star power that was lined up. And not every star came through, but when you then get a chance to analyze, and we're going to go through the races right now, you know, when you see Jackie's Warrior run from a figure standpoint, the second best race of his career, and get beat, okay, that's on the square. Latruska, you know, she ran basically the same race she ran last year. This year wasn't good enough. You know, there were some things that we'll get into. Clairiere, the gate, they did her a real disservice. She was rocking back and forth. She was on the back like this when the gate popped, and she, you know, it was awkward, and she came out funny. So that kind of compromised her. But then when we get to the, you know, to the feature, the race that everybody walks away, you know, thinking about and talking about, you got something very special, and we wanted a defining performance to go into the fall, and we got it. Not only did we get a defining performance for the 3-year-old group, you got a performance that resonates up into the handicap division for the Breeders' Cup Classic. There's no telling now where this is all going to lead, because Epicenter runs that kind of race at Keeneland. He can win the Breeders' Cup Classic. So everybody that was anointing Flightline, and we'll see what he does this week. Apparently he had to work. If you didn't see Jay Pribden's piece in DRF, pull it up, because Jay said it was frightening what essentially what Flightline did yesterday at Del Mar preparing for the Pac Classic. We have said this for months now. Everybody has got other outside, you know, issues in racing. The racing is taking care of itself, and the racing has been terrific coast to coast. And things are setting up for a tremendous last third of the year. And I thought this went a long way towards that end.
Yeah, all the divisions this year were shaping up to put forth a very good summer, and that was kind of, we got the exclamation point yesterday up here at Saratoga, and we'll hit on some of those. But before we do that, why don't we hit the DePaula play of the day, let you give out something for this afternoon.
All right, and you know, I'm like blind without a cane on the DePaula play of the day this year. I got 5 seconds, and I haven't had a win. So I've got what, 1, 2, 3. I've got 4 more chances, and so I better put the pedal down. And we're going to try Colosio with Wayne Catalano. And by the way, Catman comes in here, sits in here last week. What did he do? he gave you a winner at Ellis Park worth about $17. We're going to go right back to Wayne because Colosio is a horse. He did a cameo on the Friday at the races with me, and he gave out 3 horses at Ellis, or 2 horses at Ellis, and Colosio, who he said could not be coming into this better. Second North America. He said put a line through the first try in North America. He thinks this is a big talent. And listen, microphone, Chad Brown, the horse to beat, obviously, at 2-1. Is probably a likely winner, but at 12-1, Colosio is kind of dirtied up, kind of obscured, and he's a play of the day for me. That's my kind of key
It's also
horse.
race 5,
Colosio. Not race 9.
Number 7.
By the end of the meet, we'll have everything correct. We'll have the right race, the right number, the right horse, or the right odds, but it'll all mesh by day 40.
Yeah, we hope.
Wishful thinking.
Let's get back to yesterday. And you want to save the Travers for Ron and work our way. Take a look at the Sword Dancer.
Yeah, however you want to do it.
why don't we do
Yeah,
that?
because let's tell you what's going on here. We have Ron Winchell. Ron Winchell's joining us in about 10 minutes, and will not only celebrate the success of his operation, and I've talked extensively already about Ron's prospects. I mean, to have all the Tappets that he has and all the Tappet mares whose best cross is coming with Gunrunner. So he's going to be a font of success for years to come. And now here's Epicenter, of course, that seems poised as to be a 3-year-old champion. Ron Winchell joins us. We'll also talk about Kentucky Downs that he purchased a couple of years ago. Ron Winchell this morning, and very pleased that we could encourage and convince Sean Clancy to join us this morning. Sean has had a star-crossed summer, things going along swimmingly, and then at home, a tragedy from a property standpoint. The historic barn on his property burned down, and it is kind of thrown Sean, if you've been reading his columns in Saratoga Special, it's been very difficult. So he's up for a few more days. He came back after being home for 2+ weeks, and so we're gonna
We'll see if we can lift his spirits. Because
exactly.
Was it last year or the year before? The Sean Clancy visit here was maybe one of the most raucous loose on the leads ever.
It was, and I think that's the only reason that he agreed to do it, because he's been a little,
understandably,
yeah, it's been very tough.
All right, let's take a look. Yesterday's Sword Dancer. Favorite in the Sword Dancer was Broom. I was a little bit surprised, but it's a European, and folks tend to, Aiden O'Brien, Ryan Moore, who about the 7th race, I looked out of the press box, and Ryan Moore and Terry Meeks were taking a walk all the way around the turf course. So Broom wound up to be the favorite in here, wound up 4th. But boy, a nice late run from Gufo, who defends with the late run under Joel Rosario. Mirror Mission runs 2nd, and Soldier Rising runs 3rd in here. Nice performance, though, from Gufo, Christophe Clement trainee. The blinkers went on yesterday and gets it done, as I say, in a repeat after having won last year. With last year was a lifetime best buyer figure, so he likes this race.
He likes the track, likes the surface. A very nice 1st and 3rd for Christophe Clement, because Soldier Rising, who was basically last until the turn, it ends up rallying to be 3rd in here. Mirror Mission ran a terrific race. Seemed like there were a bunch of us that were looking for Mirror Mission in that spot, and from the 10 hole, lost a little bit of ground, had to be used a little bit. But listen, that was part of what went on yesterday. The best horses won these races, and that's what you want. You don't want to be in a situation where you say, well, so-and-so had this and that happen, and probably was best. No. Gufo comes here and repeats. Joel Rosario, of course, with a terrific day, capping it with the Sword Dancer Travers double, and Christophe Clement and Otter Bend Stables, a very nice repeater in the Sword Dancer. CC will try to repeat in the Ballerina this afternoon.
Trying to get Clement on the show, but trainers don't.
We have turf work, so we've got very many working on the turf. So I'm sorry, you can call me for radio.
I see him cool out. The ninth race yesterday was the personal Ensign, field of five, but boy, who else do you ask for? A quality field of five. As you alluded to, we're watching Clairiere, just was never in it, given the start and banging into the gate a little bit beforehand. But search results, I know some people like search results, and that horse looked very good coming into the lane and in the stretch, but Malathat rebounds from what I had Todd Pletcher in a couple of days ago, and he said right after the race, Malathat, given the situation in the Shoe V that day, very hot, very humid, he thought she was a little listless in there. She still ran well in the Shoe V. She ran better yesterday.
Well, yeah, she absolutely righted the ship. Search results coming out of the Molly pitcher did everything but win, essentially. Latruska, I thought, kind of girded herself a little bit for the fall, because it's pretty clear that Fausto Gutierrez really wasn't 100% sure where he was with Latruska. But she comes back, runs obviously more than a credible third in here. Obviously with Clairiere, basically never getting a chance to be involved. This is kind of a murky. It's kind of a murky result to some degree. Frankly, it'll probably, make things that much more interesting for the distaff when we get to Keeneland. If anything, this result seems for me to, I don't want to say anoint Nest, but doesn't Nest come out of this looking like, a major factor for the distaff? So. It was unfortunate. I talked to Scott Blasi this morning. Scott was upset that they didn't wait and back her out, let her settle Clairiere, and then reload her.
Yeah.
That would have been the thing to do.
Yeah, no, that was unfortunate.
Nice win though. Listen, we're not going to have Shadwell, not going to have those blue jackets with the white epaulets around forever. Shea Camden's daughter is continuing a little bit. So nice win for Shadwell.
Jerkins yesterday for the 3-year-olds, and it's great that they honored the chief, Alan Jerkins, with a nice grade 1 like this. Always fun to see. But the subdivision, kind of fun subdivision of the 3-year-old sprinters faced off yesterday. Would Jack Christopher rebound after the little bit of a disappointment in the Haskell? That's the way it worked out. Number 6, Jack Christopher gets it done. Gun 8 runs second. Running Son of a Gun runs third in here at a big price. Conacher fourth. But Jack Christopher rebounds to get the 5th win in 6 career starts in yesterday's Jerkins.
Well, listen, he absolutely was the horse to beat by a huge margin. The public wasn't going to buy in to any other potential storyline, and at 1-2, Jack Christopher wins the race. That if he wasn't going to be as effective going 2 turns, then it became obvious this is the plan. So big win. Very happy for Backy and Isbister and the people involved, but of course Gerald Isbister and Jim Backy of Sub-Zero fame. It's a big win, one of the biggest wins of their ownership tenure, and for the Munnings colt, basically, I could almost make the case. I would think people will start making the case. Let's see where how he finishes the year. But he's potentially a 3-year-old champion finalist, right? I mean, he's one of the 3. Isn't Cyberknife, Epicenter, Jack Christopher,
yeah, sure,
right? Are the 3 best 3-year-olds. What a great job by John Toscano and his team to get this third with Runnin' Son of a Gun, who's a claim for $40,000 and has been just terrific. Third in the Amsterdam, follows up with this. If you follow my analysis, I picked him 4th, and I said Runnin' Son of a Gun is a horse that can get a share at a huge price, and he made the triple and the super sing. Actually cashed a ticket using him in a reverse tri-key, where I did a Jack Christopher all running son of a gun. And it's actually the best result of the day for me. So horses like this, it's funny how you can, we mostly use this in the Breeders' Cup, the reverse tri-key. Big prices, figure out a pace scenario, look for a horse like this that can clunk up for third and build the ticket upward, not downward. And in this case, you had a very likely winner, then just fill in the middle with everybody, and Bob's your uncle.
A son of Gunrunner also should be noted.
There you go.
A little bit earlier on the card, the 4-go for the older sprinters, and all eyes were on Jackie's Warrior. Goes off at 15 cents to the dollar, but gets run down late in a very nice performance for Cody's Wish. I had these two 1-2 in the order of Jackie's Warrior on top over Cody's Wish, but that's the reverse as they come under the wire. Cody's Wish, the number 5, Jackie's Warrior, the number 3, number 6, Pipeline runs third. Pipeline gave Jackie's Warrior a little push earlier, which probably softened that one up a little bit, but this is a nice late run from Cody's Wish. You referred to the numbers earlier. Do you have what was the buyer here? You have that one?
112 for Cody's Wish, and second best effort from a fig standpoint of Jackie's Warrior's career. Talked to Blasey this morning, and last night, Blasey said they're not worried. He said it's not a sign of anything. I saw just a ridiculous. The internet's a joke for the most part. Saw some real stupid things said about Joel Rosario. Saw stupid things written about Jackie's Warrior from people you think are supposed to be smart, and. When you get softened up a little bit, 22-3, 45 flat, that can happen. And it's not like Cody's Wish was 38-1. Was competitive in here. I mean, I thought if there was going to be a Mott winner, I thought it was Baby Yoda, given his predilection for the track. But Cody's Wish for the namesake, for Cody, the great Make-A-Wish story, this continues to be kind of a magical horse. It's quite something, actually. But Jackie's Warrior, 7 furlongs, too, understand, as opposed to 6. So, when it comes to the Breeders' Cup Sprint, he's not going to have to go 7. That's why they put him in the gate.
Yeah, and as you say, with the numbers, that was still a very, very
terrific effort.
Performance.
Got beat on the square.
Finally, the Ballston Spa technical analysis. We talked on the handicapping show earlier. It looked clearly like the one to beat, but boy, the betting public was all over this one. 35 cents to the dollar. I thought the price was a little short, but subsequently lived up to it. Although Fluffy Socks was right there. The chart margin is only half a length. Technical analysis, the number 5. Fluffy Socks, the number 4. And High Opinion, the number 1. Runs third. But again, the result as expected by the betting public.
Result as expected by the betting public. We're going to let him run out here, and we're going to get Ron Winchell in, and we'll talk about a Travers win, a very seemingly a 3-year-old championship that is well within reach. Kentucky Downs on the horizon.
You're headed, right? You're going to head after the meet.
Absolutely.
Nice.
You bet.
That's fun.
I mean, it's going to start. It starts on Wednesday. So if you haven't looked already, the first stake of the meet is the Tappet Stakes. Go figure.
Appropriate.
Back after this, Ron Winchell joins us. Loose on the Lead continues. Stay with us.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes. In front, but here comes High Chaparral. High Chaparral, the defending champ, to take it to Barbara. These two arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be a 3-horse photo finish in the turn. Here's the wire. Photo finish.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse.
What if there was a way to become a better horse player, to have a better knowledge of the game, to be more successful? What if there were a way to take what you've learned what you know, and make better decisions, better choices. In horse racing, knowledge is a powerful tool. Race results and replays, past performances and live streaming, wagering from all your digital devices. Capital OTB. Become a better horse player.
We're back on Loose on the Lead the morning after the Travers, and absolutely delighted to have Ron Winchell join us, owner, Epicenter, and so much more. Ron, congratulations to you and Steve and David Fisk and the whole team, Blas and Joel. What a tremendous accomplishment.
Well, don't forget Epicenter, superstar.
Oh, that's true. It's the horse. The horse.
Right.
Well done. Well done. This was, this summer, obviously, after the Jim Dandy, Scott sent him across the street. And when he walked back past me, he said, dealing with a different horse now. And he really made, from spring to summer, he's made another quantum leap forward.
Right. Listen, I think the Jim Dandy kind of was a little bit of a defining moment coming out of the Derby, the Preakness, a little bit of second-itis. We really felt coming in the Derby that we were well situated to win that race. And then you come away with, a great performance, but not a win. Jim Dandy, he looked like he took that step forward. So it was good. And you saw a little different dimension. I don't think any of us anticipated him kind of laying in last and then, kind of circling everybody and just making him look bad, honestly. But yeah, it's great.
Well, and then this, when you shuffled the deck essentially and you looked at this field, and with the Preakness winner, with the Haskell winner, with the Bluegrass winner, with a couple of upstart types, and you thought, well, he's going to have to be as good or better. I don't know how much handicapping you do with Sheets, but the Sheets had him basically needing to improve to win, and not only did he do that, he did it, smashingly.
Right. Well, you go back to the Jim Dandy, though. The screws weren't tightened all the way down.
True.
So, I think the target was, the Travers was the Midsummer Derby, right? And knowing that we had to face a lot of the same horses to make a case to be, 3-year-old champion. So,
Take us through. We'll watch the replay here and kind of take us through, because, it had to be just so disappointing or frustrating, because as handicappers, I think a lot of us thought Epicenter's the best 3-year-old, and the second in the Derby, the second in the Preakness.
Right.
Just had to be, as the owner and the team, had to be frustrating. So it had to be a great summer up here with the Jim Dandy and the Travers. So take us kind of through what went through your mind yesterday as he did establish himself, and as they come down the stretch, I think he does define himself clearly at the top of the class at this
right.
point.
Well, I think, one concern we had was him breaking clean out of the gate. And then and the other concern is he has a target on his back, and so the race is running. You're looking at it going, all right, well, he got away cleanly. He's in a good spot. Fractions are good. Like, there was never a point in that race yesterday where I got concerned, versus other races where you're always like, you can find something to be concerned about. He was just away smoothly, steady, nice. Man, I think he got a pretty damn clean trip.
Yeah.
It's hard to see live, but when you watch the replay, you're like, well, it's about as clean as you can get. And so, I think when he came around the final turn here and tipped out, and you saw Cyberknife there, he just looked like he was ready to run.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I pretty much, we kind of felt like we're fine. We're good here.
Yeah, as they come around the final turn and head into the stretch, you had to be, as somebody who was using them on top, I felt pretty good myself. And as I say, it does wind up to be a defining moment at this point in the 3-year-old scene. And so you had to feel good about that. Again, relating back to the 2 second-place finishes, which just had to be completely frustrating, knowing like I say, many of us as handicappers felt he was the best 3-year-old. You probably felt very, very much the same. So that spring had to be frustrating, but this puts kind of an exclamation point on a really fabulous summer.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. And then, to win the way he won, where it's basically, we get to the wire, he's powered down. And, it's just pretty dominant. So.
And I'll also ask you, I ask all the trainers and owners that come in here, because again, the fans up here at Saratoga are so great. How'd that feel? And it's always fun when the horses come back after a big performance like that, and the crowd is the ovation of the Saratoga crowd.
Oh yeah, I mean that plays into it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
For those that didn't really dig into this result, there's a couple of things to note here, and it just occurred to me as we watched 8 Life Grand and early voting essentially back up and end up 7th and 8th. There were 4 horses that basically led the front half of this race, with Cyberknife, early voting, 8 Life Grand, and then you sitting in the pocket. 8 Life Grand and early voting absolutely stopped. So anybody that says, oh, well, the pace was mundane. Obviously, it wasn't that mundane when the Preakness winner was eased, essentially, and the other horse that was attending the pace, was beaten about 10 lengths, 12 lengths. Zandon and Rich Strike, who figured to have to, need a pace to get close, they end up 3rd and 4th in here, which sort of tells you didn't have a Derby collapsed pace, but you had enough of a pace to let them get their runs in. All this does is just further annoy. First of all, Cyberknife, for him to hold second.
Yeah, he did a great job holding.
It was unbelievable, and I know they were disappointed, Al Gold and company and Brad, but Brad said he ran great, and he really did. But what's fascinating about Epicenter at this point is to have the confidence in the horse, to tinker with his style, as Scott and Steve have since New Orleans. It is really remarkable. I mean, and he's developed. So now he's not a horse that needs the lead. They wanted him cured of that, obviously, and he's a horse that can be placed anywhere, it seems.
Right. It's funny because you look at his running style, and it used to be he was kind of the up front,
Yep.
kind of back in New Orleans. And then I think somewhere along the line I saw where somebody quoted him as a closer coming into here, and I'm like, well, when did he become the leader to the closer?
Yes.
so he's you look at that and he's very versatile. I mean, obviously he's got a couple weapons there. If you want to leave him, if you want to go slow, he can take the lead.
Well, that's what was amazing about the Jim Dandy, because that was a slow pace, and he's sitting well off of it, and yet he just inhales them and goes on by. And here, as you could see, he isn't even being asked by Joel, and he powers away, basically under cruise control. And Joel is amazing because he doesn't go to the stick. He rides with the hands, and you win by 5 1/4. 2 minutes and 3/5 racehorse time. Then the 112 buyer. The sheet fig is going to be a negative something. So nobody's going to say he has to get faster to win the Breeders' Cup Classic.
Yeah, which is a little bit what you heard before this. Right?
Yes, exactly.
Right? And so he checked that box too. So.
Unbelievable. Rod, talk a little bit about. We got so many fun things to talk about with you, including Echo again. But talk about reaching in with the resources that you've got now with Gun Runner and everything that's happening there. And I want you to talk about the Gun Runner covers of your Tappet mares, because it's going to be the cross that everyone will look at for the next decade. But reaching in and buying this horse, talk about your decision making, $250,000 basically for a not this time. Diversity, discuss your approach a little bit, year to year.
Well, I mean, year to year, I mean, I don't know how we go year to year, but we kind of, we try to be consistent in how we approach things. And I think when you look at, our team, what makes us probably, get better is the fact that we consistently have the same group of people. We don't have several trainers, right? We have the same group probably almost the last 20 years. Right, and whether we're approaching a sale, and we have our own system, and we use, guys like Dr. Lambert, David Fisk, who
DJ.
Obviously Steve Asmussen. Everybody has an opinion and comes together. But that's the same team if you go back 20 years. And so, really learning from our mistakes or learning from things that work and don't work, is what we've done the last 20 years. He might be a culmination of that. He was a little later in the sale, Epicenter. And I know it's someone that, Dr. Lambert and Steve both kind of, marked him off. And I'd actually just left the Keeneland sale. And, Steve kind of came up and he said, we're not going to have to pay a lot for this one. And he was thinking like 100 and a quarter. And obviously, I think
there's no bargains anymore.
Yeah. And so obviously he was a standout for that later part of the sale. And, obviously worked out great. And, the rest is history. And not this time, as he was probably less of a known factor then, and now he's shown up to be pretty decent sire.
What's your mix typically between homebreds and horses you're buying at sales?
Well, I mean, look, you look at homebreds. We generally get a good homebred, I don't know, every 3, 4, 5 years, right? And then you have those long gaps. So I like to have a little bit, half of the ones we buy and half that we're running, half that we buy and half that are homebreds. And then one year you might have one that comes out of the homebred, and then the purchase program's getting a little more sustainable. We're getting a little better every year, like Midnight Bourbon. Previous year, come up to Epicenter. And so, we're fortunate it's been working out pretty good the last couple of years.
Which sales do you normally play in? And do you
primarily the Keeneland in September.
So you're more yearlings than as opposed to the 2-year-old sales?
Yeah, well, particularly because we've been successful there. We've gone to 2-year-old sales, and we've been semi-successful, but...
Yeah, very good. And speaking of homebreds, and you alluded to it, why don't we take a look at Echo again here the other day, August 20th. We'll look at first-time starter Echo again. Going to be the number 5 horse in here. One of the buzz performances of the meet, obviously a 94 buyer coming out of this. Wins by over 6 lengths, just under 7 lengths.
I think they revised that to a 95. But
did they? Okay, all right. I'm okay with that. But again, this time of year for a 2-year-old, that is some number as well. Give us your thoughts on the debut effort here from Echo again.
Look, I mean, we were obviously pretty excited to run him. Our other colt, Disarm, he ran great. Similar setup, being a homebred gun runner. But this guy, he surprised us with probably, we thought he'd run good, but he's been great. I mean, everybody's kind of turned everybody's head.
Yeah, the buzz was out clearly at 3 to 5. Didn't sneak away from anybody and proved it on the track.
Yeah, this was a horse that literally everybody on the backside. The meet hadn't opened yet, and they were talking about Echo again. There's one that's really special. So everybody kind of was anticipating it, and there's been a steady parade of this. Talk a little bit, Ron. The Tappet, foundation sire scenario. Talk about your dad too, and it's rare these days that an operation even elevates, after a prominent owner like Vern. Talk about your experience around the game.
Well, I mean, look, when you look at Tappet, so that was the last horse that when we went to September sale that my dad and we bought together, right? And which is funny because my dad basically his whole life was chasing the Derby, and so we can buy this horse, and it's pretty expensive. We reached a little farther than we normally do, right? And then, 2 months later, my dad passes away. We come into the Derby season, and I'm like, well, isn't that kind of the, how the Derby gods are? This guy chases it his whole life, right? And he'll probably, I was convinced he'll probably win the Derby just because of that, right? But obviously that didn't happen. But what he turned into has been obviously the foundation of what's really helped our program grow and continue on. I mean, to be quite honest, and that's, done well for us. And then you look at where Tappet is today, he's basically at the end of his stallion career. And so you look at it from a financial point, you go, well, it's going to be tough now that we have him, not going to be around too much longer. And then you got Gunrunner that enters the scene. So you couldn't set up that any better.
No, it's storybook. And there were plenty of nice horses in between. Tapizar and,
Right.
and even a horse like QV and so forth. But to have him come along in that timing, now to have Epicenter as, sort of a divergence, and I mean, I'm talking about this with Sid Fernando on the radio. It's an embarrassment of riches, and you know that. But it sets you up for just an untold directions in the game, and you've kind of doubled up and redoubled your investment in the game. Fold in Kentucky Downs and the venture into ownership racetrack.
Right, and that's a whole nother dimension.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, you look at the Tappet mares we have now; they just fit perfectly with the gun runner.
Exactly.
So that was kind of like a maiden, a storyline. If you can't make it any better, they just come together. And then folding in Kentucky Downs. I mean, obviously, it's kind of the culmination, the cross of my two worlds, which is gaming, which is what I do in Vegas. And when they have historical racing, it came to Kentucky. I thought, well, it'd be great to get involved at some point. And then we had the opportunity with Kentucky Downs, and so those are the culmination of the two worlds. But what's great about Kentucky Downs and what's great about historical horse racing for Kentucky is the sky's the limit. We're at the beginning, maybe not the beginning, but there's a lot more good things to come with unbelievable amount of available purse money. And you're going to see a lot of people kind of gravitate towards Kentucky for racing, breeding, everything's going to happen. I mean, look at Kentucky Downs, we're basically the richest meet. It's only a 7-day meet, $150,000 maidens. Nowhere else that I'm aware of you can actually get close to that.
No, not even.
Kind of a field of dreams scenario. If you build it, if you offer it, they will come. The racing down there has just been amazing. And I want to ask you. You mentioned Gun Runner. As an owner and a breeder, I'm sure it's different. But talk a little bit about how much fun it is when you have a horse on the track, like an Epicenter or a Gun Runner or some of the other nice runners. That's got to be great. But when Gun Runners started to move up as a sire, that's got to be a lot of fun too, as a breed on the breeding side of the game, to watch your own gun runners, but you also get to watch other gun runners do well and kind of revel in that also.
Oh yeah, and those aren't rare events now.
Exactly.
Watching like the Haskell where they finished 1-2, or even yesterday, our other horse Gun Knight ran second, and the horse that was third was a gun runner. I mean, that's just unbelievable. I mean, like they just seem better. I don't know how to put it. I try to explain this to people, like, you look at the gun runners and they just seem like they're better than the rest of the offspring.
It's a
time will tell, but that's where they seem for where we're at today.
John Secura says the switch. It either they throw the switch, or they don't. When it comes to the Tappet mares, how big is your broodmare band?
Yeah, I like to keep it about 25 to 30, but somehow it's grown.
Somehow, shockingly,
somehow it's grown beyond that, and so but that's kind of always my target is 25, 30, because I like to keep it a little smaller, but we've grown it a little bit on the heavy side just because of Gun Runner and some of the other stallions we have. We try to support them
exactly,
and we have to get a little deeper when we do that on the broodmare side.
Well, because I mean, Gun Knight will get a chance. Obviously, Epicenter is gonna stand, and
we have Silver State, who's now.
Oh yeah,
don't
forgot
forget
about Silver
about
State. Completely forgot about Silver State.
Right. And then Midnight Bourbon would have fit in nice too, but that was just an awful event. But
listen, it just shows you. Actually, you mentioned Midnight Bourbon and the tragedy involved there. No matter how successful you are, the gut punches are still, devastating. There's no,
they're devastating. And then you look at that, and then you go, okay, we come into the Derby with the favorite, and you run second, and you go, okay, we're gonna wheel back in the Preakness. And second there, it's like the three gut punches, right? The really bad one with Midnight Bourbon, and then you get a right hook and a left hook. But then you got days like yesterday where it all comes back together. So.
Well,
the sun comes out in the summertime. I have to ask, have you guys discussed plans maybe for Echo again, and what are the plans maybe coming up for Epicenter?
So, Echo again, I think, you'll probably run in a month. We're probably targeting Churchill, but, we're trying to figure that one out. Epicenter, yeah, I think we're trying to figure out his path, but obviously we know the target. Breeders' Cup Classics target, and we'll figure out, Steve will figure out how to get there. He's good at figuring those out.
Yeah, yeah. Have you seen him this morning? How'd he come out of it?
I haven't seen him. I'm probably going to pop over there right now after this.
I checked with Blasi this morning. He said everybody came back okay.
Yep.
I was more worried about Clairiere, who just seemed and maybe Joelle was just being cautious and kind of didn't wanted to make sure she was, but I mean she was rocking in the gate.
Yeah, I mean, in my perspective, and I don't know anything other than what everybody else knows, is I think she just she got a little fired up in the gate and then got mad, and it's like I don't want to run. That's how I viewed it. But
on class alone, she dragged herself into the race to some degree. But Scott said fine moving forward.
You could draw a line through that performance.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, Ron, so pleased that you were able to join us. Delighted for this success. A lot of times when you have a horse that falls short of the biggest goal, you don't know if you're ever going to get that grade 1. They can go sideways at any point. So the people talking about there's a grade 1 with his name on it. Well, there was the Travers, and there might. Feels like there'd be more. Let me ask you this: with this result and with the next goal, how likely or unlikely is he to run as a 4-year-old?
Oh, I think he'll run as a 4-year-old.
Good.
Yeah.
I like to run him. Yes.
And I think that I'm not a fan of running 3-year-old retire. I don't think it's great for racing in general, and so I think just run them as 4-year-olds is my desire of what I like to do.
Well, that's what made Gun Runner. That's what made him.
And you look at the Classic this year. I mean, it's shaping up to be a really good Classic with some older horses. Now you got Epicenter coming in. I mean, it's truly looking like it's going to be a very fun race as a race fan to watch. I mean, as the owner of Epicenter, you'd rather be an easy race. But as a race fan,
just shows you how everybody thinks, right?
You want to see the matchup that looks like it's unfolding.
It could be. Well, and again, with his change in style and with this tractability, it doesn't matter if there's going to be this front-end battle, Life is Sweet, or I keep saying Life is Sweet, Life is Good, and Flightline, and it doesn't matter to you. I mean, you can go, and Joelle can put him anywhere.
Right. That gives you a lot of confidence when you're going into the gate.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Again, congratulations on the great summer up here with Epicenter and the Jim Dandy and the Travers. And I have already crossed out 94 and put 95.
You better go verify that. I read that somewhere, and I'm like, oh.
I'll go with that.
I'll take one more point.
I'll go with that.
I can check that.
Nice performance there. Our man Sean Clancy is in the house, so we'll let you go, and we'll pull Sean up. But again, congratulations on the victory yesterday. Good luck going forward, and we're all looking forward to Kentucky Downs. It's always been a lot of fun the last few years.
September 1st, Thursday, September 1st, day 1 of 7 dates. We'll be broadcasting from Kentucky Downs for the last 4 days of the meet, and we'll see, Ron, if you've never been, you can fly into Nashville, you can fly into Louisville. Easy drive, closer to Nashville, and
35 minutes.
It's a riot. It's so much fun.
Great. Look forward to seeing you.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you.
Ron Winchell.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Sean Clancy. Stay tuned. Loose on the Lead will continue. It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse. Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. You'll get live streaming, past performances, race replays, our virtual tote board, analysis and selections from professional handicappers, a simple, safe, and secure wagering platform, and best of all, you get track prices. CapitalOTBBet.com. Bet any place, anytime at CapitalOTBBet.com. And be sure to download our new mobile app from the iTunes Store or Google Play.
Welcome back to Loose on the Lead. Seth Merrow and Steve Bick. And joining us now, Sean Clancy from the Saratoga Special. We mentioned at the top of the show, you've had a tough summer, but welcome back. And we said maybe we'll raise your spirits a little bit because I think it was last year, I'm not sure, last year or 2 years ago, the Sean Clancy visit to Loose on the Lead was our most raucous episode ever.
Yeah, that was fun. I remember that.
Flop sweat.
Flop sweat. We were beating up poor Tom Law. It was last year, and he's two back.
He's
two
closing.
back.
It's getting
taking
exciting.
a totally different approach. You know, he got in front last year, and you guys started harassing him, and he got the flop sweat and got beat. And this year, he gave him a big head start, and now he's making a run.
Unbelievable.
So,
Shapazian.
Yeah.
I think Shapazian shook up a
Yeah,
little.
we got him on the ropes.
No, they have opened up about
good.
10 on me. I know that. This week I've been treading water a little bit, and I'm looking every day at the special result. They're inching further away from me.
No, they're good.
So,
They've had a good meet.
Yeah. John always, but Tom got me on the last day 2 years ago, last year, for second amongst the public handicappers. Last day he got one up on me. This year it's not going to be that close.
Never know.
Back in town, Saratoga Special. Update us on what is the Saratoga Special over the last few days of the meet.
So 2 more issues, Wednesday and Saturday. I'm hoping the Bill Mott Stable Tour for Wednesday. If he's listening, Bill, let me stop in tomorrow. And then we do the Little Guy Stable Tour on Saturday, which is an all-time classic. Yeah. So 2 more issues, and then back to reality, I guess, right?
Well, reality, we got to talk about this. It'll be the summer of, the fire. It's going to be ingrained, right, and sort of institutionalized going forward. And everybody, you must be heartened by the response you've gotten from that standpoint. And you've written so evocatively about the experience that I think everybody vicariously has kind of lived through it with you at this point.
The whole thing has been, it's just one of those things. Me coming to Saratoga for 2 months in the middle of the summer, the stress that causes my family, my wife and son, Annie and Miles, so you come up here, that's always there. And then this year, we just had this terrible barn fire that just destroyed our barn. Luckily, they got the horses out. They're the real heroes. Annie and Miles and guy Misa that works for us, works with us. They got 4 horses and a goat and a cat out of the barn, and the barn's gone. It's beautiful, old late 1800s. We had renovated and just poured everything. It was our muse. It was our piece of work, our artwork. It's just. So it's gone. I got a call Whitney morning. My wife called me and said, "The barn's burning. I gotta go." She hung up the phone. You just like. I left for 3 weeks, and it's just been one of the most challenging, difficult. Just the disruption, and I don't mean disruption like the details. It's just the peace of mind you have in life about what's there and what's the things you count on. It's just, and it's an old, it's more than a barn. It was just it's like it was our barn. It was where we Miles had a little birthday party there when he was 4 years old, and you just have gone down there, and I don't know, it was just we literally had artists would come in the driveway and say, you mind if we paint your barn? And these people would sit out in the grass and paint our barn, So it was it was brutal. It's still brutal. The the only positive part, I guess, is just to be reminded that there's the goodness in the world, and the amount of people that have reached out, and the amount of people who have done really nice things for us and just been there for us. And I listened once on NPR once. They had a guy, I never forget, they said, in an emergency situation or a crisis or a tragedy, don't ask what you can do. That just further burdens the person who is in crisis. Just do something. And the amount of people that have just done something, and that's gone from everything from just dropping off, guy shows up, he just brings a dozen eggs from his chickens. He's like, and do something, just a phone call, just a text. I mean, and it's more than just like when it's happening is one thing, but then like you text me a week later, like, hey, I'm thinking about you. Richard McLaury texted me a couple times, hey, I'm thinking of Terry Finley, reached out a couple times, hey, we're thinking about you. So that's really what gets you through it. The writing part was, it's like, now we're only doing twice a week. This happened to happen during sales week when we were publishing every day. I mean, this happened Saturday morning at Whitney, so we were doing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So we still had those papers to go, and so I wrote every day, and I think by the end I probably waffled in it, probably wallowed in it, probably too long, but it was really the only, that's kind of got me through it. I mean,
you could tell the progression. You were basically absorbing and then kind of processing it on paper.
Yeah, and I mean, I mean, it's a ridiculous thing to be take pride in, but I do take pride. I've written a column in every Saratoga Special that's ever been published, and I wrote the one in complete, the first one, in just total. I mean, I was never just in complete stress mode, and I really wasn't going to write the next one. I was just, I called my brother, and I was like, and I was kind of trying, and he kind of just like never came up that I wouldn't write it. So I kind of was like, okay, I guess I got to write it. So I kind of kept going. But
he just knew. Just knew you just needed a little push.
Writing's a funny thing. I mean, I think it is kind of it is really your. I mean, for anybody who's a writer, it is your therapy. It is your way to kind of get through. So I remember I watched a turf work up here one day, and a horse turned for home. It was the end of the turf works, and the poor thing broke down. I camped it outside rail, and I looked, and there was nobody there. I looked up one side, looked down, there's nobody out. I was walking to my office, and I ran out there just to help, and I kind of held the poor horse. And then I got back to the office, and I was like, well, like, if someone saw me do that, and then I didn't write about it the next day, they'd be like, what's this guy? I mean, this guy, what a fraud this guy is. He's out there with this horse and basically taking its last breaths, and so I've always kind of kept that. And again, it's a little ridiculous to think you're that important. I mean, I don't think it's that important, but I do think, you got to take pride in what you do.
It can be kind of cathartic too.
It is cathartic. So yeah, so with the barn, it was like, how can I not write about it? And then a couple friends, my wife and Dan Pride and a few others, were like, okay, now pivot. Start writing about something else. So then so it kind of got, it's kind of the whole thing. You kind of go through the worst part and you come out the other side. So,
No, everybody was living through it with you, and I think I know you know that, and we're heartsick with you, and at the same, I know it's trite, but I mean the animals were saved and nobody was hurt, and they're, quote unquote, you said it, you wrote it, they're things, but they're things that they may not be there to touch, but they're always there,
It's just, look, it's another lesson in life that you can't get, you can't, it's all about your experiences and all about it's your relationships and your experiences and the things you do, and not about the stuff you collect and the stuff you're trying to you're trying to keep score of, or I'm not even keep score, but it's like, you just realize that life's about the people and the love and life and people have touched you, they're trying to have experiences, I always try to tell young kids, like, concentrate on experiences, not possessions, because the possessions will slow you down, and just try to really concentrate on experiences and relationships and be there for people. And I mean, just the kindness that people showed us, it's like, I mean, just people people just drove up the driveway. It's like, hey man, what can I, we got a one-horned pygmy goat. That was the first thing. We got to build a house for the pygmy goat. Well, I'm out there. I got Tim Keefe. He's out. He's digging the trench for the fence, and Charles is a lovely guy who helps us on the farm. He's digging. The guy shows up with a dozen eggs. He's like, I was talking to Charles about how we're gonna hang the fan, and he goes, do you have a fan? I said, yeah, of course we got fans. And I went, no, we don't have any fans. The fans are gone.
The fans were in the barn.
Yeah, and it's like, so he's like, well, you need fans. And I'm like, yeah, I know. He's like, I'll be back. And he said, what kind of fans? I said, well, they're in the horse shed there. So he went around the corner, looked at the shed. He came back an hour later with 2 fans, and like, just, so it's like that part, you realize how there is a lot of kindness, and that's the only positive that you can pull out of it.
There'll be a new historic barn, and there'll be some new tack boxes that have their own story, and it'll be different, but it'll still be the family.
No, we got to try to rebuild and try to patch it back together the best we can. I mean, but, it's hard. I mean, this game's so hard, as we all know. Anybody who plays this game, it's like you just get kicked in the teeth every day. The hopes and your dreams, and these horses, and
exactly. Then
you take a hit like this, and and then I think about the people who have gone through things, and you think to yourself, man, I didn't reach out to Wesley Ward when his barn burned down. I thought, geez, why? I should have sent a dozen eggs over there. I should have, really, I should have.
That's the new go-to, actually. Yeah. We're gonna be sending.
Just do something. It's just, I just think if you can live by that, do something.
I do like that do something mentality. I heard that before.
It's really important.
I think whoever
really
wrote
important.
that nailed it.
Yeah, it's really important.
Yeah.
My brother, who you guys know, has just been an absolute beacon of strength my whole life. And one of his neighbors died, and he got his boys and a bunch of the neighborhood kids, and they just went down there and they raked all the leaves. They lived in a real tree-lined neighborhood. It was the leaves were this thick around the yard, and that poor wife and I think 4 kids, and they walk out every day and go, oh, these damn leaves, just one thing on the list. And what could Joey and a bunch of kids do? Well, they just went out there and they raked up all the leaves, and they took all the leaves. They didn't know what to do, and they dragged them up to Joey's yard and put them in his yard. He's like, well, we'll deal with that later. But they got every leaf out of the woman's yard, and I just think, again, what can you do? Just do something. Just go rake somebody's leaves. Go bring them a dozen eggs. Buy them a fan. Believe me, a text and a phone. I've got hundreds of emails that I just haven't responded to. Tom Goncharov that runs, R.D. Hubbard's farm. He sent me an email about the fire they had, and I read it, and I was like tearing up over it. And I saw him at the races the other day, and I'm like, I've never responded because I just haven't even gotten to him.
No, everybody understands.
And I know he understands that, and I just think that, if you can live your life that way, I guess the only thing I can pull out of this is just try to live your life where you just do something. Because a lot of people are struggling. This is our struggle. This is our disaster. This is our travesty. This is our, but a lot of people are dealing with a lot of things, and I think you got to just try to get. The world's gotten so tough and bitter, and everybody's just desperate trying to make it. So I just think if you can live your life and just do something, just try to reach out. That's the only thing I can come up with. Really,
that's good advice. Good advice.
We are happy to have you back because it's not a Saratoga season without Joe and Sean Clancy, Tom Law, Saratoga Special. And I think everybody, when I have you guys in on the Friday show, and then I see people later in the day talking about the show, I always enjoy the visits from the Saratoga Special guys, and people then comment on how much they just enjoy the Saratoga Special. A horse race, the Saratoga during the Saratoga meet is all horse racing fans, and to have a horse racing centric newspaper, people love it, and so you guys have done a great job over the years. And as I say, it wouldn't have been a proper end to the summer if you hadn't come back and come back up.
No, look, I'm glad to be back. It's our family, it's your friends. It's it's where you belong. So you do kind of get some solace and some comfort from being here.
Talk a little bit about yesterday in particular. Basically, spent a good portion of the afternoon by the winner's circle, and you got special affection, obviously, for the Jerkins family, and it was great to see Alan Jr. come into town, and Jimmy, and presentation. Don Little was there as well for the Jerkins presentation. We had a Travers that feels like it's going to resonate into the fall and toward the Breeders' Cup Classic. I mean, the horse runs like this. I don't care what Flightline does. This was a bit of a seminal kind of a moment for the 3-year-old class for this horse to demonstrate that level of ability. Yesterday was everything you want in a big day, pinnacle day of the meet.
Although it was, I mean, to me, it was one of those great Saratoga days, and the weather was perfect. You had great races. People were complaining about short fields. I'm like, what do you want? I mean, it's the Malathat and Latruska turning for home. You're watching that, and the Travers was a great race. This other race, the Jerkins, was brilliant. I just like watching. I like Gunite. I just think he gets beat, but you watch him just dig in and try to go after that horse. He's obviously like turn for home. You're like, he's not going to get there, but he tries every yard. I mean, he was trying at the last yard.
There were a couple of strides where I thought maybe he will get there.
Yeah, for a second, right? Like to me, that just watching a horse, just that the moxie of the thoroughbred to just keep trying, even though like. He's not, like you kind of knew he wasn't going to get there, but he kept trying. Epicenter, that was obviously his arrival. I mean, that was his, he polished it, did it the right way. I watched the race with Steve and his family, which was just brilliant. He was walking out of the paddock and he's like, man, I've been getting my ass kicked all day from the apron. I'm going to the box, and I was like, I'm kind of like, hey, can I come with you? So I go there.
Switch it up.
So there's 5 seats, so I sit down. I could see his one son. I think it's Keith. I get him a little mixed up, but I think Keith was betting, and I sat down in this seat, and there's 5. It's 5 chairs, and there's 5 Asmusens and me, and I'm thinking, oh man, how's this gonna go? And the kid sat down, and we're in the first step. And he sits down. He just walks in. He just sits on the step, And I said, "You okay there?" He said, "I'll tell you in 2 minutes if I'm okay here."
2 minutes and 3/5.
Yeah, exactly. So that was cool. And that was fun. I just their passion for the game that they have, and they gave me a ride back to the barn. And, Steve calls his mother and his father on the way home. It was just like back to the barn.
Nice.
So that was fun.
Nice.
I mean, for me, it was you get that. That's what horse racing is great. You get a kind of a break. It just kind of takes you out of your reality.
Exactly.
And to celebrate with them was cool. That was a fun day racing.
And you bet a lot of people probably don't realize, but Asmussen typically will watch the race in the midst of the crowd on the apron at about the 8th pole.
Oh yeah, he's great. I mean, I've learned over the years where he watched, so I follow him. Jackie's Warrior is one of my favorite stories really of the year. I was watching Jackie's Warrior with him way down when we were almost to the 3/16 pole way down there, and he's just in there with the crowd. I mean, you see people they're like hey, that's the trainer. That's and then to see the reaction. I mean, just walking with Steve from the box, which he was way down, kind of in front of the grandstand. Really, I mean, it was when that's thin. The front row goes in front row of the box seats go in front of the grandstand seats. So he walks back in front of all the grandstand. The core of our sport, and where this is really the last place, not the last, but one of the last few places that still has those kind of fans, and they're high-fiving them and cheering them, and that was really, really special moment. I mean, that was special. I was glad to be back. Glad to, I just feel lucky that I can get that kind of moment of
as I said, we're glad to have you back. Thanks. And once again, the hard copy will be What, there are 2 more issues?
Yeah, Wednesday and Saturday.
And folks can find a little bit of content every day on the website, but more importantly, maybe the selections every day.
Yep, this is horse racing, so you can see Tom Law and John Shapazian go at it. Lawman, he picked up, I think he got two or 3 yesterday.
Ooh.
He had Malathat, and he had a couple others that Shapazian didn't. So yeah, he's.
Nice.
You had that baby. I didn't see a paper yesterday, but the sibling yesterday.
Oh, verifying?
Yeah.
The Midnight Bijou?
Yeah.
That horse was good.
Yeah. That was a notable.
Yeah.
That horse was
750. I got an 85 or an 86 buyer.
Yeah. No, it was a nice performance. One of many of the 2-year-olds up here. All right, we'll wrap it up. Sean, thanks for the visit.
Thanks, guys.
And good luck going forward with the newspaper for you and the team. The rest of the meeting again.
River D Stables. You can be an owner with River D.
And again, online, thisishorseracing.com. That's where you can find the selections every day as well. But on track, you can pick it up. On track, you can find it around town as well. Highly recommend it if you haven't already perused the Saratoga Special. All right, we're going to wrap it up for this edition. One more Loose on the Lead. Next week, we'll be back for another Sunday morning to wrap up the season. Steve Bick and Seth Merrow. But as far as today, don't forget low rollers today over on the front side. I will be trying to rebound. That first week was very good ever since then. But I will jump in for some low rollers today. You should as well. Don't forget, great racing this afternoon. You got to
Beat Bick. You got.
Yeah.
We're running low. We're down to today and then 3 races next Saturday, Sunday, Monday. 4 chances to get qualified to then play in the final on September 17th, which is our anniversary, Tina and I. And she'll be thrilled that I'll be spending the whole afternoon tracking the 12 races.
Chincoteague or something?
Maybe.
You're gonna actually be at a racetrack?
Easy, Andy. You're going to beat me up like Serling does?
Yeah. I didn't want to, be all. I was too.
You loved that I went to
sentimental and sappy earlier.
Exactly. You loved that I went to Chincoteague.
No, I'm back.
Come on, you must have loved that we went to Chincoteague.
Yeah, I was proud of him.
Did I talk to you about the crabs we got in Ocean City?
Yeah.
Oof. Beat Bick. NTRA.com/NHC/BeatBick, and I picked CC because I'm a sucker for Michael W. McCarthy, and I think she's going to win. But if you have somebody else you like, pick them. It's a competitive race. I mean, all 7 of those are eligible, so it's a good one. If you beat me and you're not a member of the tour, you get to then join the tour for $10, and then everybody plays September 17th, 12 races, pick and pray. The winner represents at the races.
With a chance at $1 million.
1.7 million, because if you win the NHC, you get 700,000. But as the Beat Bick representative, I'll kick in $1 million. $1 million. Yeah. It's an insurance deal. John Unick from the insurance company, he put up the $1 million. So
I like Bella Sophia today, so I'm in.
There we go.
Right as soon as we get off the air, I'm putting mine in. So and also the day he went to see the ponies go across, it was his best radio show ever. Chuck Simon and I co-hosted. Yeah.
I turned it over to them. You should do that for me one day. Do a fill-in, do a guest host spot.
Next time you go to Chincoteague, call me.
Or another tourist attraction. All right, we're going to wrap it up for this edition of Loose on the Lead. Again, great racing this afternoon. It's going to be a great day up here. So good racing. The weather, I think, is going to turn out to be very nice. Don't forget, as far as the morning programming, we will be back Wednesday morning with
Thursday,
the
Friday,
Handicappers Report at 9 a.m., Racing Across America at 10 a.m. So we'll see you then on Wednesday. But enjoy the racing this afternoon. We'll see you next time.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.